Good morning, everyone. We are continuing words in the Horowitz in the Sefer HaMitzvos HaKotzar. A new mitzvah today, Mitzvah Nun Aleph 51. Mitzvahs are say a positive commandment should call Zivech Behema Tahara. Anyone who slaughters a Behema Tahara, a pure animal, obviously a kosher animal, Yitain L'kayin Zurayo L'chaim Akeva. He has to give to a kayin the zraya, the foreleg, l'chaim, the cheeks, and the keva and the maw, M-A-W, part of the animal. Now this is obviously going to be difficult to understand because the Chavetz Chaim said in the Hagdam, in the introduction to this Sefer, he's only bringing the mitzvahs that are noigeya, that are possible for a person to keep bisman hazeh in our times. So here we're talking about a zevech. Really it means when you are shechting over here, normally it means that you're shechting for a korban, but it also means not a korban. But we don't have the mitzvah of kahuna the way that we had it previously, and therefore, what exactly is the Chavetz Chaim referring to over here? That this is a positive commandment. Shenemar, like it says, v'nosan l'kayin hazoyo l'chaim makeva. It says that a person should give to the kayin. He should give him the zoya, the foreleg, l'chaim, the cheeks, and the maw. Ve'ein zroya yamin. Zroya means the right leg. Min hashoik shel yodai. That's from the thigh and down. Shein shnei evarim ma'orim zeh b'zeh. Those two limbs are connected to each other. U'lechaim min haperek shel lechi ad pika shel gargeres. Tabas gedoyle. This, the cheek area of the animal, which is the jawbone and the like, and it refers to the tongue that is between the jawbones as well, goes to the kohen. A person does not, says the Chavetz Chaim, you don't pluck out the skin, you don't remove the wool. Rather, you give it to the wool, you give it to the kohen with the skin and the wool intact. What exactly is the keva over here? The keva is with this piece of the animal that has the fat on it, and with inside of it also, I think it's more like an intestinal area, and therefore you give that over to the kohen as well. Now, the minhag is that the Kohanim, they leave over the fats of this part of the animal to the bailim, to the owners of the animal itself. Now, this is called matnas kahuna. These are called the gifts that you give to the kohen. Now, whenever you have an animal that you shecht, so the Gemara is telling us over here, not even a korban, whenever you have an animal that you shecht in the proper way, there are matnas kahuna, there are gifts that you give over to the Kohanim, and this is what the gifts are. If the kohen wants to sell these gifts, he's allowed to. Let's say he needs money. If he wants to feed them to the dogs, he's allowed to feed them to the dogs. Why? Because there's no real kedusha, there is no real sanctity in these gifts. It's a gift that a Yisrael is giving to a kohen. And if the kohen has a friend who's a Yisrael, who is in very bad financial situation and he's suffering as a result of it, if the kohen would like to be mezaki, he would like to transmit these gifts over to the Yisrael, he's allowed to do such a thing. Now here comes what the Chavetz Chaim says. What does this have to do with our generation? Well, Bisman has in our times. So the Chavetz Chaim means that outside the land of Israel, we do not do these things. However, in Eretz Israel, it's really appropriate to keep this halacha and give gifts to the Kohanim. Noegin keRebbi Eloi, we follow the law of Rebbe Eloi, which is what? Ve'ein noisnim, and we do not give it, which means that outside of Eretz Israel, a person has no obligation at all to give the gifts to the kahuna, to the Kohanim, when you shecht an animal. It sounds like he's saying, but in Eretz Israel, you'd still be obligated to do such a thing. There are those individuals who are stringent with themselves, and even in Chutz La'aretz, even outside the land of Israel, they still give these matnas kahuna, the gifts to the Kohanim. And in truth, it is fitting to do such a thing in order to fulfill this positive commandment. So we'd have to do some research over here and see, are there people in Chutz La'aretz that are actually doing such a thing? Do any of the slaughterhouses have some kind of a agreement with the Kohanim that when they shecht an animal, so they take these parts of the animal and they give them directly to the kahuna to be able to fulfill the mitzvah? I will try to take a look into that and see if such a thing takes place in our times, in our generation. But nevertheless, says the Chavetz Chaim, in Eretz Yisrael, you should do it. And even in Chutz La'aretz, it's fitting to do such a thing because you get a positive commandment by doing it. Have a wonderful day.